I have been collecting fragrances for over 15 years. At this point, I have 450 plus bottles in my collection, but I can guarantee you this, I will never be buying these 12 again. Now, it's not to say that these fragrances are horrible. In fact, some of these are actually amazing. It's either I've fallen out of love with these fragrances or I just don't really like them anymore. But trust me when I say there are worse fragrances in my collection than this that I keep around just for the memes. And why do I do that? I don't know. Prime example, this one. Will I rebuy that? Absolutely not. Will I spray it again? Only to my biggest enemy or hater in these comments. If you ever put a hate comment on my video, you are subject to get secretions magnifique on you in public. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that to you guys. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Let's dive into this. I know it's gonna offend some people. If you're offended, I am truly sorry. The first fragrance, I'm telling you, we're starting off big here. This is gonna probably set off an atomic bomb in the fragrance industry. People will lose credibility when I say this. I will not buy Bleu de Chanel Eau de Parfum probably ever again. It's not to say this is a bad fragrance. In fact, I can consider this as one of the best men's fragrances ever created. It's a versatile signature scent that you could get away with any time of the year for anything. But the problem is it's kind of the master of all, master of none. When you have 450 plus bottles in your collection, a fragrance like this, a blue fragrance, just does not get worn because any type of situation I can think of something better than this. But if you had like, let's say less than 10 fragrances, this is a very, very good fragrance. Like one of the best. This does smell fantastic. You get some incense, you get grapefruit, pink pepper. The perfumery is a masterpiece in itself, but I'm just bored of this fragrance. And I've had so many people unsubscribe from me for saying that opinion. I don't know why that offends people, but hey, you know, that's me. I offend people online for a living, I guess. I don't think I've worn this probably in a year or so because I have way too many fragrances to get away with something like this. And I personally just enjoy those better at this moment than this. Now, if you're still here with me, trust me, there's many more fragrances on this list that are probably going to offend people. This next one probably too, because it is a darling in the fragrance community and I totally see why. This is YSL L'homme, the original. So this fragrance is very fresh and clean. It has a very prominent ginger. This fragrance in itself sparked many flankers, but the issue is that I enjoy those flankers more than the original. And that's kind of why I would never rebuy this fragrance. So with this, you get citrus, you get tonkas, you get ginger, and a little bit of spice. Very fresh, clean summer scent with a slight kind of sexy, sweet undertone. When I bought this fragrance recently, I had previous experience with it. And I don't know what happened, if it's been reformulated or what, but at this point, it's like super, super weak. And the scent profile I do pick up is a lot harsher and more synthetic than I ever remember it being. Either my nose has kind of advanced in smelling things deeper, or it's just been reformulated. I have no idea, but anytime I want this DNA, I prefer the more enhanced kind of date night, sweeter, more addictive smelling brother to this, La Nuit de l'Homme or Bleu Electrique. It's crisp, it's clean, and it's just not for me anymore. You can watch some other creators that are just gonna tell you that everything that's popular they love because they don't want to offend people. I have wanted to be honest from the very beginning of this channel, and that's why I always tell you exactly what I'm thinking. Even if it's popular, do I think it's worth the hype or not? I'm always true and honest with you guys, what I'm feeling. This is my opinion, and this is Chad's secrets. This next one is going to offend people again. The original Acqua di Gio is something I will never rebuy. And why is that? So far, these fragrances that have been featured, I don't think are bad smelling fragrances. I just think there's better. And with the original Acqua di Gio, I think that actually of all the Acqua di Gio fragrances, this is the least good. With this fragrance, you get that signature Kalo note, which kind of replicates the smell of the sea. You get some florals, you get some greenery, you get some citrus. It's a very well-rounded signature scent. This has this kind of masculine undertone that a lot of people like. It's one of the most sold men's fragrances of all time for a very good reason. I just prefer the other flankers more. And I'm not even kidding you. The most hated one, the new Acqua di Gio Elixir, I would even rather wear than this one. That's why I'll never rebuy the original Acqua di Gio ever again. And I mean, performance to this, just not that great anymore. It's just not. So this fragrance, I can solidly say, I don't know why this ever got hype. If you like this fragrance, this isn't meant to offend you.
Never before have I been so offended.
This fragrance, Valentino Born in Roma Intense, this is one of the most hyped, most popular men's fragrances of all time, and genuinely saying, when I spray this on my skin, I think it smells like a woman's hairspray. I don't see why people would say that this is a men's dedicated fragrance. I do think that it has some very feminine undertones. This is very aromatic, it's vanillic, it's very sharp. It doesn't smell bad by any means, but I just don't understand how this possibly got hype over some of the many other amazing Valentino fragrances, or any fragrance for that matter. I actually prefer prefer pretty much every flanker over this. In fact, the new Valentino Born in Roma Extra Dose, I actually really like compared to this. Extra Dose is what I wished this was. It just has more character and charisma than this fragrance. I wear this one and it makes me feel like I just sprayed on my non-existent sister's hairspray, so. Of all the clones in my collection, I have many, many clones. In fact, I have so many clones, I don't have space for them anymore. But of all the ones I've ever bought in my life, I will never buy Lattafa's Maahir Legacy ever again. There is this stinky under edge to this fragrance that I really, really do not like. I don't know if it's the ambroxan or some sort of musk that they used, but it really, really smells like a urinal puck. Like one of those urinal cakes that you see and you pee on when you go to the washroom. But this is basically a clone of Parfums de Marly Sedley. There's citrus, there's ambroxan, there's mint, there's lavender. It's a very fresh, clean smelling fragrance that kind of smells like 7-Up. This one does that, but it is smelling a lot cheaper because it has this stinkiness to it. I don't know if I got a bad batch because other people haven't really said that they get that from this fragrance. You know, my nose might be broken. I might have completely abused my nose and worn it out to non-existence because I literally smell like 10 fragrances every day. Parfums de Marly Sedley is a very great fragrance for the high heat, but this one is going to make you smell like you've been sweating in the high heat all day and that you need to take a shower. And honestly, I want to scrub this off my arm after applying it. Geez. This is a very weird fragrance for me because I actually like the original opening. When this fragrance opens up, I actually enjoy it, but as it dries down, that rating slowly starts to decline and I don't like it nearly as much. This one is Paco Rabanne 1 Million Gold. There is this creamy sandalwood, what I think is a little bit of a fig note, which is not listed. It's a kind of a fruitiness mixed with this greenery and woods. The actual opening to this fragrance is quite nice. The problem is that spice that is in there. It's like this cooking spice that almost gives off this like body odor type of smell. It does not smell that pleasant to me. Almost kind of shaping itself to smell like body odor. And in Toronto, there's just way too much body odor scent profile. Imagine this, okay? I make fragrance content for a living. Imagine I walked around and smelled like body odor. Like all my credibility is just gone. But I mean, some people love this one. That's totally okay. I have not smelt the elixir, but I could totally see it being better than 1 Million Gold. This next one is a very out-of-date fragrance. I bought this one just to complete my collection, but I have no need to rebuy this one. And this is the original Versace L'Homme. This one is very old school. When people tell me that Blue Jeans is an out-of-date fragrance, I'm like, have you heard of this one? Because this is way more grandpa-esque than Blue Jeans. So this one is very sharp, it's green, it's woody. There's some leather, oak moss. It's very old school smelling in itself. The thing that doesn't sit right to me is that it's just way too old school for me. Like I like older smelling fragrances, but this one is a little bit too sharp in itself. Like there are so much more fragrances in this category that I would rather wear. Like the perfumery is just not tightly knit. It's very, very all over the place. This fragrance came out in 1984, and I'm sure that it was a stunner. I wouldn't even doubt my dad probably wore this when he was trying to pick up my mom. I mean, it kind of smells like that. Like, leave it in the 80s. I think that there's a lot better fragrances in this category that do this one a lot better. I'm kind of a sucker for this brand. I got pulled into the hype of this brand. I truly think that this brand works for what it was trying to do, and it's kind of a shame to even put this on this list because I do like its newer, younger brother, but the original Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Beau, I just don't think I would ever rebuy again because I much enjoy the other flankers. For example, Le Beau Le Parfum is, in my opinion, taking this fragrance, making it deeper, making it smell a little bit more addictive. Everything is just amplified in that fragrance. This is basically citrus, you get some tonka, you get some coconut. It's a very summertime, fresh smelling fragrance that gives off that tropical vibe. I don't see myself ever wearing this when I have those ones in my collection. I just think Le Beau Le Parfum, adding iris and pineapple, and it's juicier and it's richer and it's deeper and earthier, just more going on in that fragrance, and I prefer that one more. I'm sure there are some people that disagree with me. They prefer this version over any of the Le Beau fragrances, but again, this is my opinion and that's how I feel about that now. I am surprised. Okay, so this fragrance got so much hype like 2 years ago on TikTok. Every single TikTok creator in Fragcom was talking about this fragrance, but now no one talks about it anymore. This is Mancera Instant Crush. Had I known how close this smelled to Baccarat Rouge 540, I would have never bought this fragrance. A lot of the TikTok creators were saying that this is one of the sexiest compliment getter fragrances without even saying that it has a 90% similarity to Baccarat Rouge, okay? So with this one, you get saffron, you get kind of a sugared, amber-like caramelized feel. You also get some florals. In fact, more florals in this than I get out of Baccarat Rouge. But for me, I just don't like that DNA. I'm so tired of smelling it. I smell it at least 2 to 3 times a week in my area. literally in the gym, I smell women wearing Baccarat Rouge, and it's just too much for me. And it's just not something I like, and that is why I think that I would never, ever rebuy Mancera's Instant Crush. And honestly, I'm so shocked that it got so much hype without anyone mentioning how close this is to Baccarat Rouge. And had I known, this wouldn't even be in my collection. Last but not least, this is a fragrance I recently bought. And in fact, I bought this in a gift set that included a shower gel, which I'm currently using, and I'm so tired of. I usually spray this on right after just because it amplifies that scent. And this is the original Azzaro Wanted. I would say I wore this fragrance a total of about 5 times. It's kind of one of those fragrances I think is just okay. Like maybe like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Maybe a 6 out of 10 actually. It feels like something's missing. And I think that all the other fragrances in the line are just so much better than this. This is basically tonka, lemon, ginger. There's a little bit of a sharpness that's coming from juniper. You do get a present cardamom in there as well. And actually that sharpness from the juniper, it irritates my nose after a little bit of time. And in fact, this being eau de toilette concentration, there is a extreme blast of this like perfumer's alcohol off the top, which I'm not a big fan of. I think that this isn't bad, but it's just okay in my opinion. And because of that, it just doesn't have a place to get worn. You know, I have so many fragrances. If I wanted to narrow it down to 10, this would have been cut around the 300 to 400 bottle mark. I would have cut this before I even get close to selling off as much as it would take for me to get to 10 fragrances. Now that being said, I would never rebuy these fragrances, but they are not the worst fragrances in my collection. I have way worse smelling fragrances in my collection, and if you want to know the worst fragrances in my collection, I highly suggest you check this video out right here, because you will be shocked if you ever smell any of those fragrances. Do not buy those. I'm begging you. I think you must be a psychopath to wear those. You must be. Thanks for watching, and I will see you over there. I hope this video did not offend you.